All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, my friend, and I do consider him a real friend, Tommy DeCarlo, sent me this CD. It's called Dancing in the Moonlight. Autographed copy. Tommy, you're the best, buddy. On the inside, it's really cool. Um, this was, I'm going to say it, and I hope I don't get anyone in trouble, especially Tommy DeCarlo. Um, in hindsight, this was the best melodic rock album of 2022. All right, I couldn't really talk about it, and there are reasons, and those reasons are really despicable reasons, but I'm talking about it now. In fact, I'm pretty sure I blogged on this and had the post up, took it down. I may have put it back up. So there's a link to my blog on the banner of the YouTube channel page. I don't talk about the blog too much because I'm very fickle. It takes a lot of work to write something, and I'm not using AI or anything when I write, so it takes me a while. Just like to do videos. As you can see, I'm not really that high tech. Yes, I've ordered a new microphone, so the people who are constantly complaining about the sound, we'll see if it's the microphone or if it's my setup. In any event, folks, this album here, spectacular, and it kind of reminds you of another band from a place close to where I used to live up in New England. All right, kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Done in such a way where it's original and the music just takes you to a different place. Super well produced. Tommy is such a great singer, and he's one of those rare people in the industry who is who he is. There's no BS with Tommy DeCarlo. If you're in North Carolina and you have an opportunity to see his band, it's kind of like a family event. Just go and you'll hear this great music, and he'll even do maybe a Journey song or a song by Styx. He's just got really good melodic rock musical instincts. So again, Tommy DeCarlo, I'm sorry about the intro, but I wanted to give Tommy a little extra time because the album is spectacular. It is, I think it's the best melodic rock album of 2022, even though my list is out there and it didn't include Dancing in the Moonlight. But those are my true feelings about the situation. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody or hurts anybody's feelings out there. So, speaking of offending and hurting feelings, this Journey thing is starting to take a bit of a dark turn. And the reason I say this, there are allegations now floating around, and you can be the sleuth. You can go over to Twitter. There's an account over there that is retweeting all of this stuff about Arnel Pineda. Look, I think, like I said in the video about Arnel, I think he should be grateful and happy. Keep your head down, keep your nose clean, just finish out this tour, and then, go your merry way if that's what you want to do. I mean, he's asking the band to basically fire him. He says he's not a slave. I think that's unfortunate language to use. However, with that said, okay, with all of the stuff that Arnel has said, now there are some crazy allegations about Arnel that are floating around, and I'm not going to say them here in this video. I think we're getting into an area now where, like I said, it's getting a little darker, a little twisted. Could this be a way to just push both Arnel and to some degree John out of the picture? John's not going to go anywhere. His name is on stuff. He was supposedly controlling the finances of the band for, I don't know, like 20 years or so. So John Cain's not going anywhere unless he chooses to. And it feels like those four guys that I pictured yesterday, and only Neil is really involved in this, or someone in Neil's orbit who is trying to kind of manipulate the situation, possibly. And I don't know that for sure, but based on the things that I read, again, using deductive logic and deductive reasoning, you figure, okay, who might be doing this? And then you go and you look at a Facebook page and you see some of the comments. And people, look, I read all these comments, and you know what people want? They just want to go and enjoy the music. With all of this drama everywhere, the fans are like, hey, great show last night, Pennsylvania. Good job, boys. Great to see Dean out there. Everybody's excited to just see this band and to escape, yes, that's the word, from the reality of, Chinese spy balloons and rampant inflation and the war in Ukraine that we're sending billions of dollars to finance. Meanwhile, there are all kinds of problems all over this country, homelessness and drug addiction and all these things. And we're just going to kind of, hey, let's just keep doing this stuff because it's not, a good idea to solve problems. And so people want to just go to a good show, relive some of the music from their childhood. Can I say this without offending the melodic rock community? There really is very little on the horizon when it comes to the older bands. There are very few singers, guys like Robin McCauley come to mind, who can just bring it and be exactly who they were 30 years ago, vocally speaking. And by the way, Robin McCauley putting out a new album, which really sounds excellent, and nobody will care. Nobody will go out and buy it. Radio won't go try to find it and play it. I mean, MSG, they had problems getting on the radio. That's Michael Schenker Group, by the way, not the additive that is in Chinese food. But I mean, that band had difficulty getting on the radio back in the 80s and early 90s. So again, we don't have a lot to look forward to. So this is kind of a dying last gasp. You look at all these bands that are out there, they're announcing their final tour, like Foreigner, for instance, who are not nominated to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. I mean, there's not a lot for fans of this music to look forward to. And as much as I try to promote new material on this channel, it doesn't really register. A lot of people are like, why are you talking about some band from Germany that nobody cares about? Because nobody else is. So I feel a need to do it. You may not like it. You may not be entertained by it. I may not be ranting and raving about something, which is far more interesting. I'll watch the rant videos and I'll go, yeah, you were really funny there. I don't usually watch the stuff that I put out once it's uploaded, but people will send me the link and I'll go, yeah, that was pretty funny, huh? But so the drama for all of this, which just continues, getting a little bit uncomfortable. As much as it helps the channel and people want to know about it, when does it stop? It probably stops when this band breaks up and becomes something else. And I don't know if it's going to be called Journey at that point, which means that whoever is fighting for that name, trying to keep it going, will probably be embroiled in some kind of legal battle going forward. And it's just going to get ugly. It's going to be, a lot like, I'm thinking like CCR kind of stuff, maybe worse. I don't know. I don't know, folks. So, I mean, the personal attacks, the accusations against Arnell, I have no idea if that stuff is true. And if it is, I don't know if that has anything to do with the current situation. I don't agree with his comments about being a slave and all of this stuff. However, he's feeling manipulated, or he's feeling as though he's caught in between these two parties, these two camps, and he looks like he's sided with one of them, all right, over being on the other side, where the guy who brought him into Journey is probably scratching his head going, why did you go and do that? And so this is why there's this conflict, which I don't know how it gets resolved other than the band breaking up. Either contracts get broken or rewritten, or it goes to court forever. And this is not a good way for Journey to end 50 years worth of mostly great music, even the early material. But for fans like me who really got on the Journey train in the late 1970s and early 80s, I mean, you can't beat that stuff. That was the band at its best. And let me mention Steve Perry. All right, I did this sort of tongue-in-cheek video about the curse of Steve Perry. Man, if you believe in a curse, if you believe in curses, this has all the earmarks of a curse. Maybe Steve Perry was right about cracking the stone. Don't crack the stone. It's food for thought. I mean, it's no more of a stretch to say that Perry, when he said goodbye to this, just went like this, They say you go from town to town, you shake the dust off your feet, and you move on. And I think that's what Perry did. Perry didn't want to have anything to do with this anymore back in 1998. He just wanted to live his life. I believe he fulfilled a contract obligation with the album Trial by Fire. That's my theory. It wasn't like a kumbaya, I love you guys, I'm so glad to be back with you. Let's just get this over with, do a good job, and move on. And the boys saw an opportunity to make a lot of money. Steve Perry said nope. He went for that infamous hike or whatever it was. I mean, it's not that I don't believe the story. It just seems very convenient. And then he's going to get the surgery. He's not going to get all that stuff. If you go back and look at it, it just seems like Perry had really no intention of working with these guys on the road again, especially with what the road did to Steve Perry the first time around. So the curse was then put into effect. These guys could have moved on without Perry and called it something else, and there would be no legal problems. And then they could have still shared in the revenue stream once Don't Stop Believin' became the anthem of the planet or whatever, used at religious revivals now. Don't stop believing. Believing in what? So yeah, I'm rambling here a bit. The curse is in effect. And I don't know how that curse ends unless maybe Steve Perry shows up to end it, which would be a fitting way to kind of put a nice little bow on 50 years of Journey. Steve Perry shows up and says, hey guys, I'm here. I'm going out on stage. It's a pipe dream. There's no way it's going to happen. But I think that's the only way that this curse ends. And that everybody is like, Steve's here. Uncle Steve is here. Arnell, he said, hey, if Steve Perry shows up, I'll step aside. And I think that would be a fitting way for this whole thing to kind of work itself out. It's not going to happen. I doubt it's going to happen. It would be a miracle if it happened. Maybe pray for everybody in this band that it does happen, that something good takes place that isn't dark and that you're not destroying somebody's life over false, or even if the allegations are true. I mean, everybody has skeletons, right? You could make an entire probably short story or long story in some people's lives about all the things that they've done wrong, and then publish the whole thing to the world, and then the world would go, oh, what a jerk, and that person's life, their career is probably over if that happens. We're living in very dark times, and I don't approve of darkness influencing this situation. I think it should all be worked out between these guys if possible. And if not, then it's got to go to the courts. And the courts need to work it out. And Steve Perry had a great attorney, Lee Phillips. I don't know if anybody is as good as Lee Phillips. We'll see what happens. We've got the lawsuit still out there between Neil and John and the American Express card, and yet here they are out on tour. Yeah, because like I said yesterday, the money. We got to keep the money coming in. And some people who are maybe anti-Neil and believe the stories about the credit card situation are like, hey, they've got to cover this credit card debt. So they're out there on the road, and hopefully they can break even. Maybe behind the scenes, one of these guys wants what's best for the other one. And despite all of the acrimony and all of the negativity going back and forth, he's still trying to maybe save the other one from a disastrous ending. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know, people. I do too much commentary on this, if anything, and I just go, what was that about? It was about Journey, right? Aren't they a cool rock band from the 70s and 80s? Didn't you grow up listening to Journey? If someone had told me in 1981 that this would all happen, how many years later, I would say, that's impossible. Look at the chemistry. Look at how much these guys care about one another. Or at least they looked like they did on stage, right? And here we are, so many years later, and all of this stuff is kind of a joke. It is. It's kind of a joke. So again, folks, you know what you can do? Do me a favor. Go listen to Tommy DeCarlo's new album. It's called Dancing in the Moonlight. Tommy, by the way, is still, I think, listed as a vocalist for a certain rock band that he's affiliated with. I'll put it that way. But this guy can sing, and he's just a good guy. And I'm always on team good guy. Even if their music is so-so, I'm more likely to promote something where I like the people. Even if I'm not in love with the music, I'll go, yeah, but this deserves it. Deserves to get out to more people because this person has a good heart and they're trying hard. And maybe it'll grow on me more, With this album out of the box was my favorite album from last year. So I'll have to maybe amend my top 20. I'm probably not going to, though, because I was told, hey, don't tell too many people about this album. So it's just really weird. All right, people, I'm done with this. More legal problems, right? Thanks for being here. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Patreon for just a measly $1 a month. Also, YouTube memberships. Those are $2.99 a month. Revenue is sliding. It typically does at this time of year. This is the revenue off season. So whatever you can do to help like-minded folks over on Patreon. That's what we're shooting for. People who like the content, who agree with the host. I don't mind a little debate back and forth about certain nonsensical issues, but on the serious topics of this world, I just don't have time for it anymore. I mean, if you're in the dark, I can't help you. I can't help you get out of the dark. That's between you and God, and you've got to figure that out. All right, I've said way too much, but you're getting your money's worth here. See you soon.